Hi Nitya, welcome.
Hi. Good to be
How
here.
are you?
I'm
Good,
doing
good to see. Thank you so much. Thanks for joining. So we'll give a couple of minutes for people to join in. So people are slowly joining in.
certainly.
Thank you.
Are most of the people joining from Australia or all over the world?
Mostly Australia and US, and a few people from India as well.
Okay, good.
So we'll be joining soon. We'll give a couple more minutes, Nitya. So we're expecting a few more people usually. All right. I think we'll go ahead and start, Nitya, and then as people join, they will. So before starting, I would like to start with a brief introduction with a short PPT of 2 minutes from about Breath Universe and a little bit of welcome note. And first of all, thank you so much for joining today with us. This is our third Guru Sangatya session. So what we are doing in this platform is to introduce different gurus. When I say guru, people who are actually trying to spread the science of meditation and spirituality to the humanity. So we welcome someone on board and then give the opportunity for the practitioners, people who are practicing meditation, opportunity to interact with a guru and know more things about their life, and also if they have any questions. So that's this platform. So I'd like to share something. Yeah, definitely. I'll just share a presentation quickly and then. All right. Hope you're able to see the presentation. Yes. I'll be quick. So Breath Universe is a platform that we have started back in around 2015, where the idea is to spread the science of meditation and spirituality to one and all. That's the simple baseline of this. And for that, we do any sort of program. We do weekly meditations and a lot of programs on this. And Guru Sangatya is our new program. As I said, we introduce a guru. Basically, even for the participants to follow back, connect to different gurus across the world, so they connect back, and then they can follow their programs and their guidance afterwards. And briefly about you, for the people, I'm not going to talk more. Probably I'll ask you later, but wanted to just give a very high level in terms of today. Our guest is Sri Nitishanti. So he was an MBA graduate from XLRI Jamshedpur, worked as in a corporate sector, but he ordained a Buddhist monk in 2002. If I'm right, I have gathered this info from your website. You can correct me later. And then after 6 years of living in forest, meditation, Montessori, he stepped out of the robes in early 2008. Now he shares joyful teachings across the globe. I think predominantly in US and India is what I heard, and through online, you are reaching the world really. So that's briefly about Nitishanti. And personally, Nitya, no one introduced me to you. I got connected with your talks on YouTube and have approached you in 2017. I was personally, inspired a lot, and I really thought people should listen to you and then be under your guidance in progressing their spiritual career. Thank you. And Breath Universe in Melbourne, Australia. Very quickly, the programs that we have organized till now. You have participated in this Breath Awareness Summit, the first online summit that we have conducted with various masters, and that went really well. And also we conduct various workshops here in Melbourne, especially Melbourne, directly on physical platforms. And also we have participated in a lot of exhibitions here, spiritual exhibitions and all, taught meditation to hundreds of people. And then also we have gurus like Dr. Newton and Lakshmi, who was a past life regression therapist who came here, and a Himalayan yogi once came, like Sri Vedananda Babaji. So basically, whoever comes to Melbourne, we make sure we take the opportunity to introduce them to our group. And also quite a few other programs like long meditation sessions, and also every Saturday from 6 to 8, we conduct meditation sessions. And also full moon session, we make sure we do a longer session, like 3 to 4 hours, and conduct meditation sessions at IT offices. And books is something that we encourage everyone to read. So we have a library where people are encouraged to take the books and go and read. So that's briefly.
Hey, sorry to stop. I think presentation is not moving. Have you noticed?
Maybe it is. Okay.
Can you put it in the presentation mode, easy to move?
Okay, that's all right. I think I have, I don't want to take much time. So even the presentation is wrong. I have explained what it is. So I want to move on to the session because we have around 1 hour odd time. So Nitya, we'll start. So to start with, I know I have given a very brief introduction of you to the people. So to start with, I would like to ask you very briefly about your journey and about yourself. So, the audience know who you are. Maybe some of the audience, I have shared your videos already, but maybe not everyone know about you. Can you please share about yourself briefly to start?
Well, thank you, Hari, for inviting me, and namaste to everybody. It's nice for a session like this, it's nice to actually start with some silence. Let's all tune in. Let's all cut out whatever's been happening earlier in the day. So take a moment. Let's all take a minute. Just get in touch with your inner state, whatever's happening, thoughts, emotions. Become aware of that. And also ask yourself what inspired each one of you to join today's session. Get in touch with your intention. What is the deeper intention here? And what would it feel like if your intention was already fulfilled? Can you start with that consciousness? You can all take a nice deep breath. And whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes. Very nice. So wonderful to have you all. And, even though at some level we are in a place and we are in a time, in sessions like this, it's called satsang. You're calling it Sangatya, right? It is actually the company of truth. And when you're truly in the company of truth, time has a different feel. And you can lose track of space and time in a way. I recently had a 6-hour session online. And a lot of people said, Nitya, when we joined, we thought we'll be there for half an hour. But the next thing we knew, we were surprised we were there for all 6 hours. I have never before sat for 6 hours, even on a physical session, much less a virtual session. How is it possible? And the reason it's possible is deep down within us, something knows what we need. I don't know if you've noticed this, but at different times in your life, sometimes you have food cravings. I want to eat blueberries. I want to eat that particular vegetable. I want to eat that particular thing. And that's because perhaps your body needs exactly that at that time, right? So deep down inside of us, we know what we need. And if we can trust that more and more and more, then our life takes on a certain flow. So we talked about intention. My intention for the session, and in fact, for most sessions that I do, is that I would like everyone who's getting in touch with these teachings to be among the top 5% most grateful people in the world. Top 5% most grateful people in the world. And that's for the slow ones. Most of you should be among the 0.1, the top 0.1% most grateful people in the world. And it's not that difficult. It's not that difficult because most of us are living, most of humanity is living in victim consciousness. We want to shift from that to a more empowered, surrendered, and awakened consciousness. And we'll talk more about that as we go along. So I would like, number one, for us to realize the power of gratitude in our spiritual journey and our life journey. Enormous power of gratitude. For me, that was a big game changer. Otherwise, I was just doing many, many things and kept complaining, kept comparing, kept not feeling good enough. But gratitude really was the key for me. And the other thing that I'd like is to plant an incorruptible seed of enlightenment. It may sound like big words, but we'll come to what that means. So Hari asked me to share a little bit about my journey. I'll share a little bit about my journey, but let's remember, these are stories, right? And life is not, the world is not made of atoms, the world is made of stories. And then it's the quality of the story that you tell. That's the quality of your life. So very briefly, my story. I was born in the US. I grew up in India. At the age of 16, I was introduced to meditation. I realized that most of my problems were self-created. They were not, I thought they were because of my parents and my brother and my teachers and my friends. Meditation taught me no, self-created. Everything is self-created. Yatha drishti tatha shrishti. When I change my way of looking at things, the things I look at change. This was a massive upgrade of my operating system, as you can imagine. Until then, I was happily blaming people and saying because of them, because of them, because of them. I had to take full responsibility. It was in the beginning a bit of a shock to my system. Oh my goodness, I'm doing this to myself. Why would I do this to myself? Because I'm not aware. I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm sleepwalking through life. So it was a massive wake-up call. And then once you have the bitter poison, the bitter medicine, which feels like poison, then the journey begins. So the first, I would say 4 or 5 years of my journey were incredibly painful. In my case, at least, everybody has a different. In my case, it was very painful. A lot of very difficult stuff to come up with. And I would have a lot of mood swings and I'd feel a lot of heaviness in my heart. But something in me, I think, we all have all kinds of qualities, but there's one saving grace that we all have. In my case, the saving grace was just perseverance. I just did not stop. I just kept going. And that perseverance is what eventually led to things opening up. I completed an MBA. I joined a job for a short while, and I realized that's not my path. I went on to live with a Buddhist monk for about 6 years in Thailand and Sri Lanka. And at a certain point, that journey also felt complete. And so from 2008 onwards, I've been sharing some of these things with friends in different parts of the world. So that's a very quick overview of the journey. Did you want to ask something else, Hari?
No, I think that's good. If that's a good summary. So I would like people to go to your videos and find out more about you. So, well, I think we'll continue. So Nitya, usually how these sessions happens is Q&As, but we are more than happy if you start with your message and then we can go on to Q&A session.
All right, let me start with something and then we can, but then you have some context as to what to ask.
Yeah.
So spiritual gatherings and sessions like this are a little bit different from the usual sessions you might be used to attending. And one of the main differences is much of our education is about accumulation. Accumulate ideas, accumulate concepts, accumulate perspectives, accumulate, which has its place. However, this kind of session, it is actually about dropping. Because what you're after is not something, not the next thing. It's about this thing. For you to be in touch with this experience, you've got to drop everything. The more you gather, the more far away you get from this present experience. The next step is actually behind this step, inside this step. It's like the next layer of the lotus is inside the present layer of the lotus. There are many, many, many layers. So the first thing to realize is this is a unraveling. This is an untangling. This is an uncoiling. This is an unclutching. It's a little different from the education that we're used to. But actually, it's the real education. Aristotle defined education as the ability to have a thought and not believe it, which is closer to what we are talking about. Right? Even the word educate, the basis of the word educate means uncover. Uncover. It's not add. Let's add more stuff to this child or to this person. It's actually uncover, uncover, uncover. Remove the extraneous stuff. One of my teachers, Nisargadatta Maharaj, said, the secret of success is the steady resistance to the unnecessary. The secret of success is the steady resistance to the unnecessary. But what is unnecessary? Unless you ask yourself what truly is necessary and what truly is unnecessary, life is going to be very confusing for us. And this requires actually a very radical thing. You've got to question everything that you have believed, everything your parents have told you, society has told you. It's a massive questioning process. And then you come to very interesting discoveries, actually. Things that, like, for example, people ask me quite a bit, of course, nowadays we are all in lockdown, but otherwise I travel quite a bit. So people say, Nitya, how do you manage? You travel here, you travel there, you go here, you go there. How do you manage? How do you keep up? So I said, we say things like we travel a lot, but look at your actual experience. In your actual experience, have you ever traveled? Is it not closer to the truth that Delhi came to you, Melbourne came to you, New York came to you, Singapore came to you? Are you really traveling? The world is traveling, isn't it? You've always just been. You're just here. You're in a state of being. The world travels. You don't travel. Even the next time you're walking down the sidewalk, just notice. Are you walking down the sidewalk or is the sidewalk walking past you? It's quite easy when you do it in the car. Are you going down the road or is the road rushing past you? Look at your actual experience. When you look at your actual experience, it doesn't tell you what society tells you. What society is trying to tell you is you are this body and you are this mind. And you're going through a relatively static world. The world is much, much older than you. You're a newbie over here. If you look at your actual experience, you find, like, for example, if I had not woken up this morning, all of you would not exist. It requires me to wake up, wash my face, come and sit over here for all of you to exist. So now this is closer to the actual experience, isn't it? Now this challenges everything. This really unconditions us. When you start looking at it like this, it challenges some very basic facts about life. Even our language gives us all kinds of misperception. So for example, it's a common phrase in language to say, let's have a face-to-face conversation. Right? Hari, you and I will have a face-to-face conversation. But have you ever in your life had a face-to-face conversation? Because then in my experience, when I'm sitting across from Hari, I can see Hari's face. I can't see my face. In fact, I've never seen my face. I've only seen reflections of my face, isn't it? When in your life have you ever seen your face? And that reflection keeps changing. When I was 10 years old, it was different. Now it's different. 20 years from now, it'll be different. In fact, that reflection is in big trouble. That reflection is destined to die. But here, so there is a face, Hari's face, but here, there's just a space. There's no face. Look at your own experience. Don't even believe what I'm saying. Right now, if you did not have memory, of course, on the Zoom call, you can see multiple faces, right? But without memory, do you know which face is yours? It could be any one of those, actually. You don't even know which face is yours. And that's what love is. So love is when I'm with Hari, then Hari's face is my face. That's love. And wisdom is realizing that here there is no face, there's only space. What is called I am. I am. This is awareness. Awareness does not have a face. Awareness is the space in which everything arises, everything passes away. But we tend to get caught up in the specifics of what's going on. So why do we meditate? We meditate to wake up from all these stories that we've been telling. We didn't even realize their stories. We thought, of course, this is the truth. This is just the way it is. But it's not the truth. It is just a concept. And how deep it runs. How deep it runs. This is what they call going down the rabbit hole, right? You'll have to start questioning every single thing you ever believed. And layer by layer by layer, you start reclaiming your inheritance. Your inheritance is Sat, Chit, Ananda. Sat is what is true. Right now, we are having the Zoom call. All right, so this is true. This is the reality. To be conscious of what is true. Oh, there is this happening. It is happening within the space of consciousness. And what is happening is not separate from consciousness. Without consciousness, there cannot be the Sat. The Sat and this Chit are connected. Every time in your life, you realize what is happening is not separate from your own consciousness. Ananda, Ananda, this is bliss. Bliss comes from realizing it's not two, it's not separate. So all of you are not separate from consciousness. The sky and the weather are not separate. One of my teachers, Pema Chodron, says, I am the sky. Everything else is weather. What a beautiful teaching. I am the sky. Everything else is weather. So all these things will come and go, come and go. I am the sky. The reason we meditate, the reason we do any of these practices is instead of getting hypnotized by the sky. Oh, today the weather's good. Today the weather's bad. Today this. I am the sky. Instead of getting hypnotized by the weather, we realize I am the sky and we include all of this. So all our practices, right? Gratitude, deep listening, deep love, deep silence, surrender, you name it. It comes back to this. I want to share one more thing and then we can get into some interaction. So four levels of our journey, 4 stages of our journey, very broadly. The first one is you're a victim. Victim means other people have to change. Your spouse has to change. Your family has to change. The government has to change. The policies have to change. The environment has to change. The world has to change before you can be okay. You're a victim. Unless this coronavirus situation goes, unless the economic problems go, I cannot be happy. All right. And now you have to wait. Because one day, hopefully it'll happen. You've been waiting a long time. So first stage is victim mode. You've given away all your power to others. You're waiting for something to happen. Someday something will happen. In this session also, if you're waiting for Nitya to say the right thing and make you feel better, I'm sorry, you're in victim mode. Because your happiness is dependent on me right now. If I don't do a good job, according to you, you're not going to be so good, right? So this is victim mode. Lowest level of consciousness, most distorted, most disempowered, most confused. Then at some point you start realizing, hey, I'm not a victim. I can decide what's important. I can decide what to pay attention to. Instead of focusing on what I don't want, I can focus on what I really want. And I can give energy to that. What's important in my life? What kind of father do I want to be? Mother do I want to be? Business person do I want to be? What kind of human being do I want to be? You start giving your energy to that. And I bet every single one of you on this call, the fact that you even are on this call, you have tasted that empowered state. If you were only in victim state, you would not even be on a call like this. This call would not even attract you. You'd be worrying about something or the other. You'd be sitting in a corner worrying or fighting with someone. The fact that you're attracted to this kind of call, you've definitely tasted the empowered state. You make an intention, you work toward the intention, you make it happen. And then again and again, you make the intention, you work toward the intention, you make it happen. You feel more and more empowered. Yes, we can do this. No matter what the problems are, if we put our minds to it, we put our creativity to it, then we can go ahead and do it. We can achieve these things. So you start feeling more hopeful. You start feeling more alive. And you set bigger and bigger goals for yourself. And you start moving towards those goals. It's fantastic. But something interesting happens here. No matter how many goals you set, no matter how much you achieve, something still feels incomplete. In fact, there's a famous Christian saint who had a very interesting thing to say. She said, more tears have been shed for answered prayers than for unanswered prayers. So you pray very hard. I want to marry that person. I want to marry that person. I just recently was talking to someone. She prayed, she fought with everybody. I want to marry this person. And then it was the most unpleasant marriage ever. Such a lot of domestic abuse, such a lot of this and that and the whatever problems. And she said, I prayed for this. I only prayed for this. Oh my goodness, what am I supposed to do now? Another lady, she eloped. She ran away with a person. Total fight with the whole family. Love marriage. And not that love marriage is wrong. I'm just giving you examples, right? But the point is, we are so sure that this is the right thing for me, right thing for me. And then again, in her case, 10 years later, it was a big collapse. And she had a very complicated situation, going back to her old family, connecting with them again. Very, very complicated situation. This happens not just in relationships, it happens in all areas of our life. I really wanted. And then you get it, you're like, oh my goodness. So you heard that saying, be careful what you pray for, you might just get it. So be a little mindful. What are we even asking for, right? So at some point along the empowered journey, you start questioning, do I even know what I want? Because I know I can get it, but sometimes it's not the best for me. So now for the first time, humility starts coming in and says, maybe I don't know what I want. And you're open to a higher intelligence. Please guide me in even asking for what I want, because I may not even know what I want. Please guide me. And this is where the third level of consciousness opens up. It's called surrender. Surrender is realizing you may not have you're powerful, but you may not know how to use your power. You're a little baby with your power right now, right? So you're going beyond all this law of attraction. Okay, let's attract this, let's attract. Yes, you can attract it, no doubt about it. But do you even know what you want to attract? I was a monk, and we had a lady come and visit in fact, she was from Australia. She came and visited our monastery, and we were showing her around the monastery, and she looks at these little huts we live in. I said, do you live in these huts? Yeah. Such beautiful, cute little huts. How long does it take you to clean your hut? 15, 20 minutes. You just dust it. Why? You just you sweep it, you dust it, you mop it, you're done. She says, I live in a house with 10 bedrooms. It takes me the whole day. So in our hut, you can clean the entire hut in 15, 20 minutes. In her case, the entire house, 10, 11 bedrooms. And then she has to have staff, and you have to monitor the staff. Then you have to ask yourself, do I own the house? Does the house own me? Do I own these things? Do these things own me? You have to really ask these questions. At what point did you stop owning them, and did they start owning you? And now, even if you want to do something else, you can't. You're so busy taking care of things. You're so busy managing things. Everything has to be serviced. There's a warranty for everything. So now what's going on? You thought this was supposed to make your life easier. It's actually made your life more complex. So the surrendered state is a very important state. And a big shift happens over here. In fact, in each stage, your level of responsibility goes up. In the beginning, no responsibility. It's not my fault. It's my parents' fault. It's other people's fault. In the second one, much more responsibility. In the third one, even more responsibility. I am responsible. What's happening in my life? There's a nice quote I read somewhere. We pray to God to change our situation, not knowing the situation was given to change us. You see, the empowered state always wants to change the situation. Oh, I'm going to use power of intention. I'm going to set a goal. I'm going to get out of this. But maybe there's something you need to confront over there. It's not always about getting on to the next thing. Maybe you got to stay there. And so in the surrendered state, you ask yourself, is there anything that I need to change within myself? And that's where the sadhana really begins. Before that, we're kind of having fun, right? This is where you really buckle down. And now you start confronting your shadow. Until then, you thought, I just have to go and get what I want. But then you realize I've got a big shadow inside of me. That even when I get what I want, I get dissatisfied. I get unfulfilled. I start fault finding. My teacher used to say that there would be these certain monks who would come to our monastery. They'd stay for 2-3 days. They'd be very pleasant. And then they'd find some fault with something and they'd leave. And this happened many times. And our teacher said, these monks, they're carrying dog shit in their bag. Dog shit in their bag? What does it mean? Yeah. The first 2-3 days, it's fine. But then the same old stench comes up. This is not good here. This is not right here. These people are like this. You see, every place cannot be like, if you're changing job after job after job and every boss is bad to you, it's no longer about the boss. If you're changing relationship after relationship after relationship and everyone is not good enough, it's not about the relationship. This is your shadow. And so look in your life for these repeating patterns. And then it's no longer about the situation. You've got to confront and say, no, something in me has to be encountered. There's a lovely word in English, reckoning. There has to be a reckoning. What's going on here? You've got to face it. And that's where surrender happens. There's a lovely teaching from Hawaii called Ho'oponopono. And Ho'oponopono says, take full responsibility for what's happening in your life. 100%, not 99%, 100% responsibility. Responsibility. Response means, how are you responding? See, we're not saying it's your fault. 100% responsibility does not mean coronavirus is your fault. How you respond to coronavirus is 100% your responsibility. What happens is not your fault, but your response to it is definitely in your hands. And so now, how am I going to respond to this? So when unwanted things happen, then all kinds of things get triggered inside of me. And for each one, different things get triggered. For someone, oh no, poor me. For somebody else, oh, you want to fight with life. Anger comes up, fear comes up, anxiety comes up. So in Ho'oponopono, this is a blessing. You're finally encountering the poison inside of you. So when it comes up in Ho'oponopono, we inwardly say, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for judging you all this time. I'm sorry for being a victim all this time. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. So in India, the word is sanskara. As you go through life, it's going to trigger your deeper samskara, your vasanas, right? And for each of us, it's a little bit different. So different things are going to get triggered. For some person, jealousy gets triggered. For some person, inadequacy gets triggered. For some person, anger gets triggered. For some person, comparison gets triggered. All kinds of things, fear, hatred, all things are going to get triggered. And when they get triggered, I'm sorry, please forgive me. I love you and thank you. In other words, instead of living from memory, you start living from inspiration. How do you live from inspiration? You live more in the present. You realize in the present, this is happening. How fascinating this is happening. I'm sorry, please forgive me. That gets you to a zero state. I love you and thank you gets you to the inspired state. So our journey is to unclutch and unhook from the matrix. This matrix that we've been hung on and stuck to, this illusion that we've been stuck to, is based on many, many, many assumptions. The assumption of separation, the assumption of I'm an individualized being in a certain time, in a certain century, in a certain place. As we start unhooking from these assumptions, we start reclaiming our true inheritance, who we really are. And who we really are, first of all, it can't be described in words. And that's what the beauty is. That silence, which cannot be described in words, that is who we really are. That silence, in that silence, you perceive the flow. And silence and flow are not even two. They're not even separate. Shiva and Shakti are not even two. They're not even separate. So this is what gets you to the awakened state. The surrendered state gets you to the awakened state. Even in surrender, there's a slight trance that there's me and there is a higher power. And I'm surrendering to the higher will, the higher power. But in the awakened state, you realize there's not even that too. Even that too collapses. They just is. It just is. Things just are the way they are. So in our journey, you will usually in the beginning be mostly victim, less empowered, hardly surrendered, not all awakened. But as you go along, the energy, the whole balance starts shifting. You get more empowered, less victim. And there is some, once in a while, there is some surrender, there is some awakening. And little by little, mostly surrendered. And we want to move to a place in this very lifetime where the awakened state is our primary reality. And once in a while, we may revisit the other states, but that is like for a little glimpse, right? So like Jesus said, in this home, there are many mansions right here, right? This is like in your house, there are many rooms. Are you going to spend all your time in the toilet of your house? Toilet is important. You should go there and visit a few, go wash your face, go use the toilet. But would you like to spend your whole day in the toilet? Why would you do that? Why wouldn't you be in the nicest room? Why wouldn't you be in the front yard or the backyard? Why wouldn't you enjoy the most spacious, beautiful parts of your house? Why not? Right? And every room has its own place and purpose. So like this, let us make this journey in consciousness. And all the things you already learned and are going to continue to learn, see it from this lens. It's a lens of moving from victimhood to empowerment to surrender. And so another word for surrender is also letting go. When you come from a more dualistic framework, you use the word surrender. When you come from a wisdom framework, you use the word letting go. But ultimately, get the essence of it. Letting go of what? Letting go of the stickiness inside of you. This is where I call it the taste of purification. You start realizing inside yourself what it feels like when things are getting sticky, and what it feels like when things are getting relaxed and calm and clear. If I take a ball of glue and I roll it on the floor, it gathers dust, it gathers dirt. The more I roll it, the bigger the ball gets, accumulation. If I take a ball of wool and I roll it on the floor, the ball of wool gets smaller and smaller. The more I roll it, the smaller it gets. So are you going to live in this world as a ball of glue? Every experience, every setback is just making you heavier and heavier, more and more tired. What is this horrible world? What have we gotten into? That's a ball of glue. That's the way most people are going to live this life. But when you're part of this call, you're not like most people. A basic shift has happened. You are here to live like a ball of wool. You will still go through the ups and downs of life, but instead of accumulating sanskaras, you're going to now drop sanskaras. It's coming to say goodbye. It's coming to say goodbye. So now the ball of wool gets rolled. And if you've ever seen a ball of wool, you chase it all the way till the end. Ramana Maharshi called it chasing the eye. Chase, who is this eye? Right? How do you, what is the cure of this entire problem? The cure of the problem is looking for the person who has the problem. I mean, you've had so many problems in life, and you will continue to have problems in life. But the big question to ask is, who is the one taking delivery of the problems? How come we never ask that question? That's a fundamental question, right? Who takes delivery? When the Buddha got enlightened, that's the first thing he said. He says, Gahakaraka ditthosi, Gahakaraka ditthosi. I have seen, oh my goodness, the house builder you have been seen. What is the house builder? Who is building this body and mind, lifetime after lifetime after lifetime? Gahakaraka ditthosi. I have seen. Punagehan nakahasi. You cannot build a house again. I have seen you. The culprit has been seen. The culprit was ignorance all along. We never asked the fundamental question. So when the ball of wool is rolled, at some point, a mysterious thing happens. The ball disappears. Huh? Where did the ball go? There was a ball. Where did it go? There was never a ball. There was only wool. The ball was a concept. And so we have to chase this ball of wool until only wool remains. There is no ball left. We have to look at, we say, I am experiencing life. So now we have to question, who is this I that's experiencing life? And you chase that ball of wool, you hunt for that I. And you come to the startling realization, there was never an I experiencing life. There was only life experiencing life. And that is the awakening. And that's where you stop complaining and fault finding, and everything becomes a blessing. Everything is seen for what it really is. Life is not happening to you, life is happening for you. For what? For your empowerment, for your surrender, for your awakening. When you understand that, you stop fighting so much, you stop complaining so much, and you really come into a place of gratitude. One last thing I'll say before we get into interaction. The Buddha says there are 4 kinds of people in this world. First is running from darkness to darkness. Second is running from light to darkness. Third is running from darkness to light. And the fourth is running from light to light. What does it mean? Darkness to darkness means right now, things are really dark. You haven't been paid for 3 months. There are health problems. You're worried about your parents in India or some other country. No one who's there to look after them. Kids are not listening, they're not studying. I mean, you name it. Things are really dark. And you get very anxious, very worried. You think you're so unfortunate. You get angry with people who have not paid you your money. You get upset with the situation. You're fighting, resisting. You're becoming a victim. Guess what? Your future is also very dark. When it's dark and you get angry and revolt, upset like that, you're planting further seeds of darkness. Your consciousness has become dark. You strengthen the neural patterns of being a victim. Your future is going to be very dark. Second version, things are very bright. Nice home, plenty of food to eat, loved ones are next to you. Everyone's fine. Yes, there are challenges, but things are going well. Good education, good background, good experiences in life. You're living a great life. But you keep fault finding, keep comparing. Oh, they've got a bigger house. Oh, their kids are doing better. I mean, that person is better looking. That person got a better partner. And you go on and on comparing. Even spiritually, you compare. Oh, that person had that experience. They can see chakras also. I can't see any chakras. I can't even feel my own chakras. And you keep on comparing yourself with other people. So guess what? This comparison, and this happens a lot with the new generation, that they haven't been through the difficulties their parents have been through. So for them, I mean, they don't even notice the privileges they have. The fact that they have a nice home and a good education and, basic necessities of life. It's like a little cartoon I was seeing. The father is walking with his son to school. And the son is like, why can't we go, why can't we go in the car? The father is saying, it's very close. My school is very close by. And when I was your age, I used to walk 5 kilometers to go to school. And the son is like, so your father couldn't afford gas either. And the son is like fighting for, why can't you just take me in the car? You don't realize the privileges you have. But that's a journey, all right? So the second one is from light to darkness. You don't recognize the light that's there in your life. You keep on focusing on the 1%, 2% that's not good. The future is very dark for you, I'm sorry. The third one, darkness to light. Right now, things are really difficult. All the difficulties I mentioned earlier and even more. But something in you looks and says, wow, my neighbors are supporting me. Wow, these people are calling up to check if I'm okay. Wow, I have some savings. Wow, I've been through more difficult times in the past. I'm going to come out of this as well. I have a community like this. This community is helping me. You notice what's there and supporting you in every situation. Something is supporting you. 2 men looked out of prison bars. One saw the mud. The other saw the stars. Even in prison, what are you looking at? If you look up the story of Alice Sommers, true story, she was the oldest living Holocaust survivor. Even in the Holocaust, in a concentration camp, she practiced gratitude. In a concentration camp, she never lost her good attitude. In fact, the person who came to arrest her in her house, he felt embarrassed to arrest her. This is a Nazi who's coming to arrest a Jew. And he's feeling so embarrassed, I have to arrest you. Because he knows this woman is so special. So look up if you want a real powerful example of this, from darkness to light. Alice Sommers is one of the best examples. At 115, she said in my building, she was 115, she lived in London at the time. She says, I'm the only one who smiles and laughs in my building. Everyone is so sad all the time. And she's been through Holocaust. She's lost her loved ones. She lost her son eventually later on. She lost her family. And this person is smiling and happy. If this person can smile and laugh, then you and I have no right to smile and laugh, to get upset. That's what I mean, right? So I never complain about my life because someone somewhere dreams of a life just like mine. No more complaining. Complaint-free life. This is the third level of consciousness. This is the third, the Buddha says, from darkness to light. And the fourth one, of course, light to light. So things are going really well and we don't take them for granted. We are so thankful. We are so grateful. We make the best of the opportunity. Right now, you've got health. Right now, you've got the basics of life. Be grateful. And instead of endlessly running about the next thing, what society is conditioning you, the next thing will satisfy you. Just go and meet the richer people. Just go and meet the most famous people. Just go and meet the most powerful people and say, really, are they that happy? And you might find they're not. Break the illusion that the next thing is going to make you happy. One of the psychologists of happiness, he says, go interview people, whatever you want to become in life, you think that's going to satisfy you. Go meet someone who already has that. Go meet someone with 1 million Instagram followers. Go meet someone who's in the papers all the time. Go meet someone who's so good looking. Check. Are they really that happy? You might be shocked to find they're not. Breaks the illusion. So the way out is to untangle, is to uncondition the mind. Your true nature, what you're searching for, you already have actually, but it's covered over with all kinds of concepts. So the Buddha says you cannot control at this moment, is there darkness or is there light? That's not in your hands. That is karma vipaka. That is coming from past actions, past consequences. That's not in your hands. But what is in your hands, 100% responsibility, is your response to what is happening. And can you choose the highest quality response available to you right now? Maybe just a little bit more of acceptance, a little bit of gratitude, a little bit of how can I support somebody else? And step by step, you will raise yourself out of the mud. And from the mud will come the lotus. So that's our journey. Can we take a minute of silence and let's have some interaction? Just tune in, everyone. Nice deep breath. All right, very nice. Hari, over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Nitya. That was really great talk and very important, I would say, in our initial journey of spirituality. Thank you. And for people who ask questions, I already got a few questions, but if you have any questions, please raise your hand so I can call out, and then you can unmute yourself and then talk. So if anyone has any questions, you can raise the hand in Zoom if you know already how to do that. Meanwhile, I'll start with the existing.
Click on participants, there'll be a button called raise hand.
Yeah.
You can raise hand.
You can raise hand. And let me have a few questions that came up. All right. Chandana, would you like to start?
Hi, hello. Hi, Nitya. Hi, namaste. So I'll just straight away come to the question. So I was reading about your journey yesterday, like how you started. I'm interested to know, like we all have a lot of changes happening in our lives right now, but when I look at your change, like the initial one, you were in a very good, like I should say a comfortable lifestyle. And when you actually stepped into a monk's shoes, so yeah, the decision itself is a great decision, but when you just step in, you might have noticed a lot of changes in your mind, like how to calm your mind, or it might be telling you to go back to the previous life, I mean to say your life, because it was comfortable. So how can you help us, like tell us your experience on how to adapt the changes, and like how can we, what can we learn from your how to accept the change?
Great.
And also the second part is, have you been constantly into a practice of like, because right now when I was in this session, I've seen 2 times we were in silence. So it's like, is that what helping you to stay back into the moment? And I would like to know more about that.
Sure. Great questions. So we will go through many life changes, and one thing one of my teachers told me, he says, our mind is notoriously bad at knowing progress, especially when it comes to inner progress, notoriously bad. So this is a very good thing to remember. And he said to me, when your mind tells you nothing is happening, it's a waste of time, nothing is happening, that's when the most is happening. In other words, when you meditate, oh, that meditation was a waste of time. I sat for 1 hour, my mind was wandering all over the place, nothing happened. What a waste of time. That's when the most happened. You see, because your mind is wandering all day long. But for 1 hour, something you notice this mind is wandering. It noticed the big mess that's going on. Metacognition. New neural pathways were created. It's not pleasant. For cells to rewire is not pleasant. So for you, it felt so unpleasant. But deep down, a very seismic shift was happening inside of you. Our mind is notoriously bad at telling us our progress. So the first one is, you realize that what your mind is reporting to you is not the truth. It is one version. It is one story. So the earlier you realize this, the easier your journey gets. Otherwise, you start believing everything. So why do you have emotions in the day? Because you believe your thoughts. If you were not to believe your thoughts, you would not have emotions in the day. You would just have presence. It would be pure presence. Yes, there'll be different feelings, but there would be no strong emotion around it. It would just be the way it is. So sure, when I also became a monk, first of all, I knew what I was getting into. It's not like I just went there without any expectation, without any understanding. I knew that monks eat 1 meal a day. Monks sleep on the ground. They don't have a mattress. Monks have only 1 set of robes. I knew those things. It's not like I didn't know those things. I was mentally prepared for it. But of course, there were things that I did not expect. For example, walking bare feet. We had to walk bare feet to get our food. I have never walked bare feet that much. My feet were really hurting. And for the first month, I was like, oh my goodness, how will I do this? I'd come back, and the whole day I was just taking care of my feet only. Oh my God, that 1 hour walk in the village. Look what it did to my feet. But I just kept a strong mind, strengthen my mind. Let's get through this. And sure enough, if you have a strong mind, enthusiastic mind, then the challenge gets converted. So in about 1.5 months, my foot had grown a new layer of skin. And I was able to do that walk. Then about 2 months into my monastic life, one day, suddenly these thoughts came up that, what are you doing? You're so selfish. You left your parents behind. Look at you, selfish fellow. You've come over here. Who does this? And from nowhere, these thoughts came, and they really tortured me. For 3 hours, they tortured me, those thoughts. And there was a big Mahabharata happening inside. And a part of me said, this is the right thing. A part of me said, this is the wrong thing. And it's very interesting. That thought came exactly 2 days before my return ticket was going to expire. Because you cannot come to Thailand with a visa without having even though I didn't plan to use my return ticket, but I needed to have a return ticket, and it was going to expire in 2 days. So you see, there is inside of you, there is a shadow, and the shadow will try to stop you every step of the way. So this shadow really woke its head up, and I just had to grit my way through those 3 hours. And somehow at the end of 3 hours, it subsided again. And honestly, for me, after that, I never had these kind of doubts about what I was doing anymore. Later on, many years later, there was a sense of, do I still want to remain a monk or not? That's a different question. But broadly, the direction of my life, there was no doubt about that. Even if I would leave the monk life, I would continue doing what I'm doing. There's no question about that, right? So one has to have a little bit of grit. Understand the 4 levels of mind. First one is conscious mind. Right now, we are exchanging thoughts. You're thinking, you're agreeing, you're disagreeing. Conscious mind, thinking. Thinking mind is conscious mind. One layer deeper than that is feeling mind. The reason I asked you, when Chris began by saying, Hari said, share your story. I could have shared my story. I said, but wait, let's include the other levels of mind as well. So take a minute, become aware of thoughts, also become aware of feelings. Feelings are subconscious mind. You know, at the end of the session, and certainly after a week from now, you will not remember much of what I said, but you will remember how it felt. I meet you 10 years from now. Oh, Nitya, nice to meet you. We were on a call together. Oh, really? You may not remember much of what I said, but you'll remember how you felt. Because people don't remember what you say. They remember how you make them feel. A nicer way of saying this is that people don't care what you know until they know that you care. Right? So this is very important. Your deeper mind, your subconscious mind is all about feelings, which is why EQ will always beat IQ in this world. The successful people, the smartest kids in your school are not the most successful now. But the medium smart kids who are really good at social relationship, they're the ones who are really successful now, isn't it? Because EQ will always beat IQ. Because we are emotional creatures. Because your subconscious mind is feelings. So second level of mind is subconscious mind, feelings. Third level of mind is superconscious mind. It's pure awareness. Just knowing, awareness. We meditate to break the barriers between conscious, subconscious, superconscious. So that right now, as I'm speaking to you, I can also be aware of what I'm feeling. And I can also be aware that this is just happening inside of consciousness. The more that is available, normally I'm caught up in my thinking, right? What am I thinking? What is she thinking? It's like living in a narrow room. When I become aware of thinking and feeling, even as you're listening to me now, become aware of thinking and feeling, you've entered a much bigger room. Become aware of thinking and feeling and consciousness. This is really spacious now. But guess what? There's one more after this. Conscious mind, subconscious mind, superconscious mind. Never mind. So the reason we're practicing is to go even beyond the I or the I am awareness. Even beyond I am is prior to I am, the unconditioned state. Turiya Tit Avastha. What is even beyond this one, beyond all the other 3. So this is the place we are practicing. Now, how do we do it? There are many ways to do it. There are direct and indirect ways of doing it. An indirect way could be, for example, play a lot of golf. Go ahead, play a lot of golf. But in the process of playing golf, somewhere you'll enjoy being in nature. Somewhere you'll notice your swing. Oh, I have to swing. I have to hold my thing a certain way. So while playing golf, indirectly, you will become aware. If you want to be a good golfer, you will have to be in the present moment. That's the indirect way of doing it. All right? Yeah. But there's also a more direct way. Just direct in everything you do, just become more aware. Don't wait for golf. Don't wait for music. Don't wait for something. That's fine. You can do it that way as well. But there's a more direct route. So the direct route, spirituality is the more, you just go straight for it. Okay. So straight for gratitude. Don't wait for something good to happen to be grateful. Be grateful to begin with. Don't wait to find the perfect person to love. Love every person you meet. Love everything you do. Right? So don't wait for life to line up. You just go ahead and take It's conscious evolution. It's not unconscious evolution anymore. Evolution will happen anyway, but that's the unconscious slow way. You're going to do it consciously. And yes, what you asked about, this pause, this gap between stimulus and response, silence. This is where wisdom lives. And which is why again and again I invite you, pause, stop. Because actually I know you're going to forget everything I'm going to say. But to some extent, it's going to help you penetrate to the subconscious mind, to the superconscious mind, and if you're lucky, even the never mind. And if you can touch never mind, that is the seed of enlightenment that has been sowed inside of you. It is a taste of the tasteless. It is what's going to quench you. Nothing else is going to quench you. Even the superconscious mind is not going to quench you. But what is before the superconscious mind is going to quench you? Because it's already quenched actually. So what you're looking for, you already have. But you've been hypnotized into thinking, no, it's something else, it's something else, it's something else. So what is spirituality? What is anything I'm teaching? It is a map to enter a room you're already in. So now follow the map. But if you're smart, you'll say, Nitya, please no more maps. I'm already here. Thank you. Don't need any maps. But okay, I should practice more gratitude. I should meditate more. Okay, I'll do it. And then you're where you are. Thank you, Chandni.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you, Nitya. Thanks, Chandana. Priya, next year's.
Namaste.
Namaste.
My question is actually almost similar to what Chandana asked, but before that, you know how you mentioned that you don't really remember what I say down the line, but no, I was reading your video, watching your videos, and what caught me the most is smile when you actually meditate, because everyone talks about your posture, your thoughts, whatever, but no one actually said, have a smile on your face. Yeah, so that is one point that actually struck me. The other one is, you know how you said when you're waiting for someone, if you're upset, then you are in a bad company. And that actually another point. It's these two things gonna be with me at least.
Great, lovely. Happy to hear that.
Yeah. Now, very similar question to what Chandana asked is, all this, if all the enlightened masters or who are into meditation or who is taking meditation seriously or monks, all actually heard the inner voice in them. So what my question is does everyone actually have that inner voice? Am I ignoring mine, or am I in a not a right state? Why I am not hearing my inner voice? How did you actually heard your inner voice at that young age? And how did you just made a decision of just becoming a monk at 16? You actually were in meditation. How is it possible? Is it something influenced by people around you, or your parents, or what is it? And how did you actually heard that?
Lovely, thanks. So first of all, the inner voice is not always a voice. Even though we use the word voice, it can be an inner knowing. Like, for example, how do you know when you had enough breakfast, had enough lunch, do you have an inner voice? Okay, Priya, now you have had enough breakfast. No, you have a knowing. Oh, feels complete, right?
Yeah.
It also, like when you prepare food, how do you know how much salt to put in something or sugar to put in something? Do you have an inner voice that proclaims, now the salt has been put? No, it's an inner knowing. Oh, that feels right. That smells right. That tastes right. Bringing up your children, how do you know? Right now they're crying for food. Right now they haven't slept enough. Right now they're just irritated. Right now they need a hug. How do you know? You just know. So the inner voice, even though we use the word inner voice, it's not always a voice. It's an inner knowing, right? It's an inner sensing. How do you get in touch with that inner sensing? You pay attention. The more you pay attention, you'll start noticing these things. The basic thing to pay attention is this expanding me or is it contracting me? Is it making me feel lighter? Is it making me feel heavy? Is it making my life more tangled up and confusing? Is it making my life untangled and clear? Now check. Now, for example, I wake up in the morning and I sit quietly for a few minutes. I practice gratitude. I think of the things I'm grateful for. I feel grateful. Then I do some exercise. I take a walk in nature. I maybe meditate for 10, 15 minutes, half an hour. I read something inspiring and I go through my day. Now check. Does that make me feel expanded or contracted? Does that make me feel heavy or light? Does the journey ahead get more tangled or more unentangled? And the same way, I wake up and I jump out of bed, look at my phone, start replying to people, quickly make breakfast and rush into my day. And check, look at your own experience. Which one makes you feel lighter? Which one makes you feel tighter? And then your inner being is telling you, hey, Priya, can you take out a little bit of time? You're doing so much for the family, so much for your friends. You're always there for them. Your inner voice says, Priya, please take out some time for yourself as well. Can you please give 1 hour to yourself? Wake up 1 hour before the kids. Give yourself an hour, meditate, do some breathing, take a little walk, do a little walking meditation, right? Give thanks for what you have in your life. That's what the inner being is telling you. Now, so the thing is, it's a nudge. It's actually a whisper. The inner voice is more like a whisper, not always with words, but a whisper. You ignore it. Now it becomes a nudge. What's a nudge? Emotions start coming up. Discontented, confused, feeling a little out of sorts. Why are you feeling out of sorts? Because you were ignoring that inner knowing. The more you ignore it, the whisper becomes a nudge. Now you ignore the nudge also. Now it starts becoming major life events. Now it becomes a slap. Now suddenly you find some very major thing. Your partner is, doing something you didn't like, or your job has told you we don't need you anymore, or doctor says you got a lump in some part of your body. What is this? Now this is life. It gave you whispers. It gave you nudges. You kept ignoring it. So now the slaps start coming. So why do we walk on this path? We want to walk on this path so that we have a more joyful, easeful, graceful life. The more you listen to that inner knowing, call it inner voice, inner knowing, whatever you want, the less you will need the nudges and the less you'll need the slaps. Once in a while, they'll still come because we do ignore things after all. But it'll be a lot less. So the quality of my life is a lot higher. It's not that I never have nudges. It's not that I never get slaps, but they're much less than before. When I was not listening to this, then every day there was massive shaking up. And every now and again, there was a big tight slap. Right? So that's what the point is. So as you also start paying attention, and it'll be in your own way. For some people, it's more visionary. Like in my case, I get a lot of dreams. I get a lot of visionary dreams. And my dreams tell me what to do. But for somebody else, they don't remember their dreams. It's more like a feeling that they have inside themselves. For somebody else, it's more auditory. They actually hear, they literally hear an inner voice saying, do this. And they listen to that inner voice. But the way it's coming to you is the right way that is appropriate for you. So you have to learn to trust that. And the more, how do you get better at it? The more you honor that inner knowing, the more you're able to distinguish it from all the other voices. Is this truly my inner knowing, or is it a voice of some part of my personality? One basic difference is the inner knowing is consistent. Like for years and years, my inner knowing has said, don't get so entangled. Take out more time for yourself. Be quiet, be simple, be slow. That's what my inner, for years it said the same thing. But the other things say, oh, take on this project, or do this, or buy that, or experience that, or meet that person. This is impulse. So one distinguishing factor is the inner knowing tends to be more consistent and quiet. The impulses tend to be more vociferous. Come on, do this, do this, do this. If you don't do this, you're gonna be very unhappy. So the very strong things typically are coming from personality, and the quiet ones are coming from presence. So that's one way to distinguish. Is your daughter raising her hand? She's waving.
What was that? What was that? Sorry?
She's waving hi to us. She's saying hi to us, your daughter.
Okay. Yeah. That's enough. Thank you.
Thanks, Priya.
Thanks, Priya. Thanks, Nitya. So we'll take 2 more questions, and let's see where I think we have 5 to 7 minutes to start this. So next question, Shibu.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Hari.
Hi, Shivu.
Really appreciate this. Hey, Nitya. Thank you for that talk, and thank you for coming in here. Really appreciate this. And I've been watching some of your videos, especially the one on the most important questions, right? So that was really, really profound. I think I watched it like 15 times. Wow. A couple of days. I've been watching it again and again. And my question is actually related to that, Nitya. So I do the morning gratitude, the run in the nature, and meditation sessions. And I start with a lot of energy and with awareness, I would think. But then down the day, I mean, as it gets to the afternoon, I'm like so much caught up in my thoughts, and I'm totally unaware. How do I go from being in this pockets of awareness or islands of awareness to being aware?
Beautiful.
And that's my question 1. And if I can ask, I don't know if I can ask my second question.
Go ahead.
to be sure. My second question is based on what you were discussing earlier, Nitya. So you talked about the 4 stages of the journey, from the second being the intent, and from there going towards the surrender stage. So even self-realization is an intent, right? So even that becomes an intent, and without that, even the meditation and a lot of things which we do is based off intent. So how do we transition from the intent to the surrender?
Very nice. Beautiful.
So that's
First of all, your first question is something most of us can relate to, that you have started your day so nicely, you took a walk, you practiced gratitude, you've meditated, so bright and luminous, and now little by little throughout the day, you're losing it. And I remember feeling this. I did an MBA, and I made an intention that I will meditate every day. Morning, I'll meditate an hour. Evening, I'll meditate an hour. If I miss it, I'm going to skip breakfast. If I miss it in the evening, I'm going to skip dinner. I made a very strong intention. And same thing would happen. I would feel so clear and calm. And in fact, I would feel so calm, I'd not even bother about my facial expression. People said, why are you so sad? Am I sad? Inwardly, I'm so happy, but I'm not even caring about how I look. You're not concerned about looking smiley or looking nice. You're just in a state of being. And for some people, it looks like, are you sad? Are you serious? What's wrong with you? Nothing's wrong. I'm just so happy within myself. But yes, as it went along, little by little, we get extroverted. Our consciousness gets hooked outside. So the basic thing that we all have to learn is short moments of resting in awareness repeated many times. So you have to find your own way of doing this. For example, the way that I do it, before I start anything, like today also, before we started the call, I said, let's pause for a minute. Let's tune in. So anytime you change activity, then chances are every few hours you will change activities. Okay, now emailing has to be done. Let's stop for a moment. What am I doing here? I'm emailing. All right. And what attitude do I want to bring to this? I want to bring joy to this. I want to bring connection to this. These are important people in my life, right? I want to bring focus to this. Okay, now what's happening? Now we're going to prepare lunch. Okay, preparing lunch. So let's pause for a moment. What are we doing? What are we going to be making? Who's with us? Who's preparing? Who are we making it for? Tune in. So in other words, we're not just jumping blindly from one thing to the next. We're bringing awareness into this. This is also called inner attunement. So short moments repeated many times. You cannot, so my teacher would say, what you're calling practice, oh, I do my morning walk and this and that. He would say, that's not practice. That's preparation. Throughout the day, what happens? Now, when those conversations happen, when the unwanted things happen, when the boss suddenly dumps a new load of work, I haven't even finished this, you've given me more work. That's when the real practice happens. Everything else is preparation. So we have to reframe in our mind, practice and preparation. What you're going through right now, this is not practice, this is preparation. And over here, we'll all nod our heads and say, Nitya, so great, so great. But when you leave this call, now when the unwanted thing happens, when someone drops a cup and messes the entire carpet and the rug, then what's going to happen? That's where the practice happens. Then will you say, how wonderful? Or will you get all upset and angry? Then you're going to go straight to victim mode, right? So the basic thing is you have to find creative ways of weaving this throughout your day. Keep coming back to this rock, reminding yourself. So you should have lightweight practices. So for example, this summit is like a breath awareness summit. So breath is always available to us. Gratitude is always available to us. Wishing well for others is always available to us. So find lightweight things like this that are always available to you. Don't require too much setup, and you can immediately get there. And then that's how little by, and you've got to be patient with yourself. You're overturning, I would actually say you're overturning centuries and centuries of stuff, because who you are, Shibu, is a conglomeration of all your ancestors, believe it or not. The shape of your nose, the color of your eyes, this is your ancestors. Right now, 1 million ancestors are talking to 1 million ancestors. So you got to be a little patient with yourself. Don't beat yourself up so much. I'm going to give you a simple practice. Look in the mirror. This is a good practice for all of us. Every day, look in the mirror and take your name. Like, for example, I would look in the mirror and say, Nitya, just for today. What if there's nothing wrong with you? And you would say, Shibu, just for today. What if there's nothing wrong with you? In other words, this constant self-blame, self-criticism, not good enough, not good enough. No, you're fine, right? And stop fault finding so much. Come into appreciation, come into joy. You're made the way you are for a reason. So that's the first one. So find ways of infiltrating this, come more to a state of gratitude and stop complaining and judging so much. Where you are on your path right now is exactly where you need to be. You're not supposed to be 2 steps ahead or 2 steps behind. If this is what you're experiencing, this is what you need to experience. Experience it wholeheartedly. Wisdom is going to come out of that. And about intention and self-realization. Self-realization by itself is not an intention. But yes, you can have an intention to direct yourself towards self-realization. So when you ask the question, who am I? I'm telling everybody, I'm Nitya Shanti. I've been a monk. I've done all of this. No, that's not who I am. That's a story. That story can be told in a variety of ways, right? And my story can change every time, and some parts of it will be true every single time, but that's not the full story of who I really am. So the most important question to ask right now, as you're listening to this, is Nitya Shanti listening to this or talking about this? No, that's a name. Who am I? So you ask again and again, who am I? Who am I? Who am I? And layer by layer starts dropping. Because when you really get present, try right now for a few seconds, get really present. You keep your eyes open, get really present. And let me ask you, did you think of your age?
No.
Yes or no, Shivu? Yes or no? You don't think of your age?
No.
Did you think of your gender? I'm man or I'm woman?
No.
Did you think of which country you belong to?
No.
What education you've had? How much money is in the bank? Who your major loved ones are in this lifetime? So I'm going to say it in a different way. I took away your gender. I took away your religion. I took away your nationality. I took away your loved ones. I took away your money. I took away your education. You should be a hot mess right now. You should be going crazy. How can you take all these things away from me? But you know what you found? Actually pretty nice. Why? This is pretty good. I should do this more. So this is the wisdom. This is the self-realization is I don't need any of that. I don't need my education. I don't need my gender. I don't need my nationality. I don't need my loved ones. I don't need anything to be okay. When you realize that, you've learned how to live your life. So yes, the empowered state is realizing that now what are the priorities? Okay, the real empowerment comes from self-realization, self-actualization. All right, so now you start directing your life towards surrender, towards letting go, and little by little, you can start getting glimpse after glimpse after glimpse, the awakened state, who I really am. So that's how the four things line up. Victim to empowered to surrendered to just pure being.
Thank you so much.
15 minutes. Unfortunately, I have another call coming up. Take another 2-3 minutes, and I'm happy to answer any other questions.
Yeah, I think with the questions, I would like to hold on now because I have a huge queue. I don't want to start it with just 2 to 3 minutes. We definitely need one more session with you when you are free sometime, because the last few weeks I have been sharing your videos and websites and your channel to people, so people have watched all your videos and really interested in interacting with you and getting to know more. And
no one warned me that they watched. I was happily talking like nobody knows me. They've already done all their research. Everyone knows everything.
Yes. I've done thorough investigation. So yeah, I know. Thanks so much for giving your time today, and it was really enlightening. And the way that you have explained about especially the victim consciousness and how to come out of the victim consciousness towards empowerment, and that was really nice and really helpful and enlightening. And I hope everyone have utilized the session really well. And don't worry, guys, we'll bug Nitya one more time. I have a big queue coming up.
I'm actually starting, I don't know if the time will suit all of you, but I'm going to be starting a 21-day program next month, where every day we'll spend about 40 minutes. What time? 8 o'clock India time is what? I think I'm going to do 7:30 India time would be what time? For all
will be 12 o'clock. 12.
Yeah, 12 o'clock. So yeah, I'm not sure the time will suit you, but I'm going to be having a 21 days where we spend about 45 minutes every morning. Not just talking about the teaching, applying the teachings, right? So in different ways, coming back to alignment.
Yeah, share the details, Nitya. I think quite a few people could be.
If you join this website, I put on my name. It says belucid.in.
Oh yeah, I have your website, so
I regularly post my schedule and different events there, so you can just join that. You can join for free if you like, and if you want to make a contribution, you can.
Yeah.
And everything is posted here. In fact, almost every day I share something here. So that currently is one of the best ways to be in touch, because I've gotten off social media. It was sucking too much of my time. I was being a victim of social media, so I thought, let's get empowered. And let's get surrendered.
That's all that. Yeah, that's a great way. So I'll get the details to everyone. Thank you so much. I know you're running out of time. Thanks so much for your time, and you have a great session ahead.
Thank you, Hari, and thank you, everybody. Lovely to meet all of you. Why don't you put on your video and say bye to me instead of seeing all the blank screens?
Yeah, exactly. So people can turn on your videos, whoever can, and then say just Say
Great.
bye.
Nice to see you all. All right. Goodbye.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Great. Great.
Take
Great.
care.
Good to see you.
Thank you.
Take care.
Yeah.
Lovely. 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 Great.
Thank you so
Lovely,
much.
nice smiling faces. Good. 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 Thank you.
Thank
All right. Goodbye, guys.
Great. Bye.
Bye.
Thank
So-
you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So everyone else, if anyone hasn't joined in Breath Universe WhatsApp group, please leave your numbers here so I can add you to the group and we can convey about all our upcoming programs. Thank you so much. Have a good one.
Thank you, Hari.
Thanks.
Thanks, Hari.
Thank you,
Bye.
Hari.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Suresh, can you please stop the live on Facebook?
Yes, I'll do that. I think you need to stop, Hari. Or maybe I'll change it and then.
Make me host, please.
Yeah, I'm doing that, Hari. Thank you, Hari. Talk to you soon.
Thanks, Suresh. Thank you. I'm just checking if anyone has any numbers.
Okay.
I'll end it, Suresh. You can go. Thanks. Thanks, Kirti. I'll do that.